Good afternoon, preppers. Welcome to Goshen Prepping. As we know, the World Economic Forum is in full gear, and one of the major topics this year specifically is cybersecurity. And that's completely understandable because obviously many of the major corporation CEOs, if not most of them, are all part of WEF and are at least invited to come talk and listen and everything else. And what do the rich people want? What do the wealthy people want? To keep their wealth intact. In fact, of course, to make it grow. And as you know, good old Billy Gates is notorious for letting the cat out of the bag when it comes to, specific drills and scenarios that are taking place through the Gates Foundation and Bill Gates being part of the WEF. We're finding the same thing happening with the WEF with a video that was actually just recently released. You need to watch this because this will blow your mind. And if we actually put any credence for the fact that Bill Gates talked about a certain thing happening a few years ago, then it happened right afterwards, we are in a shitstorm. I'm going to put it that way. We are in big trouble because this video talks about how COVID ravaged society. And it's true, it did ravage society very well at taking away our freedoms. That's what it's all about. But then it goes into how a cyber attack can spread faster, has more efficacy than COVID, and it has far more detrimental factors than that virus ever did. And we need to stop there because you have to understand, I completely, wholeheartedly agree. Having a huge cybersecurity problem in the world would be nothing less than catastrophic. And that's the whole point of them putting this video out, because we need to listen to this. It could, and I'm not kidding you, shut down the entire world. And they talk about some of the different types of vulnerabilities like worms, just absolutely just multiplied skyrocketing wise throughout the world, infecting over 75,000 devices in 10 minutes. It just ravaged the computer world. It says the only way to stop the exponential propagation is to fully disconnect the millions of vulnerable devices from each other and from the internet, all in the matter of days. Could you imagine the world without internet? They are saying that if something like this happens, they are literally saying we need to shut down everything connected to the internet. Everything from the internet. That's the only way to stop the spread of this virus. Sounds very familiar, doesn't it? Because when we talked about 2020, when the crap hit the fan in 2020 and the pandemic, people were told to what? Shelter in place, stay in their homes, don't go anywhere, don't connect to anything at all. And because of this, businesses shut down. In fact, many went out of business. In fact, in the US, over 200,000 businesses closed because of the pandemic. But even more importantly, 22% of all small businesses closed their doors forever because of that. While major corporations, what happened to them? Had record sales. So let's go ahead and run with the scenario. Let's jump down this rabbit hole, which we don't want to, but we have to. Again, we talked about Bill Gates. We talked about how his connection is with the WEF. And understand that when it comes to things connected to the internet, we're already on a digital currency anyway. We don't need to go to a central bank digital currency, which is what they're shooting for, because right now, practically everybody pays with some kind of digital fingerprint anyway. And I've had many people say, I pay with only cash. That's true, but they may not be able to trace it back to you. But understand that stores are still dependent on the internet. They're still dependent on making those transactions. How many times you're in a store and the power goes down? Or in the store and they say, hey guys, our credit card machines went down, our computers went down, and we need everybody to leave because we can't buy or sell anything right now. You're like, I have cash. They're like, we have no way to record it. But the item's only $10 and here's $10. No, we have no way to record it. We can't do any transactions. So you as a person may only be with cash. But the stores are not. They're absolutely connected and dependent 100% on the internet for everything. So if that shuts down, the internet shuts down, the stores all shut down, we're talking about chaos, absolute chaos, far more than simply just stay and shelter in your home. Because in your home, you have things like Netflix, you have like electricity. All that will stop. For how long, it's hard to say. But you have to understand that fear will absolutely grip the world. Fear will. And we've mentioned this before. The one thing man fears is the unknown. When presented with a scenario, individual rights will be willingly relinquished for the guarantee of their well-being granted to them by a world government, a new world order. Henry Kissinger. This little video put up by the World Economic Forum is frightening. It's sobering because if this is simply something they are planning for as an emergency or preparing for, if you know what I mean, then we're in big trouble. Because if you actually thought we had lockdowns before, if you thought we actually had freedoms and rights removed before, we have seen nothing yet, because this would literally send the whole world into a pandemonium chaos. Far worse than a viral epidemic. This computer pandemic, you want to call it that, will all be out of control. Everything will, we won't be able to do anything. Even the police cars and emergencies, everything will be shut down because of lack of internet. And I will tell you right now, if this is something they're preparing for, then this will be their last step in control. And now it's checkmate.